I was thinking about the games that were just gems. I'd like to believe I can spot them and what I think it took for them to be gems, and how it really all boils down to the creatives, the ones who were truly invested. Like, I'm sure for the people who are familiar with that soundtrack, then you'll understand what I mean when I say that all great things aren't always widely known. For the people that don't know what that soundtrack was from, it's a game called Viva Pinata. It's made by Rare, pretty sure it was distributed by Microsoft, and it was for me, as it feels as a common consensus for others, just one of those games. One of those games that just worked. It felt great. It had character, it had a good idea, it had style and creativity. But that's not to say it was perfect. Of course there was imperfection, but to be honest, I think that helps it. It almost lends itself to it, and it's definitely not the only game that does that. I mean, you're watching Dark Souls, it's a pretty flawed masterpiece. And it's not just those, there's loads of others. For whatever reason, they just have that thing, that sauce. Another that comes to mind is Project Zomboid. Face value, the game is an isometric, open zombie world sim, but after you play, you realize what you're playing is a lot more difficult, different, and deep than you first thought. And it's one of those games that just shows that passion truly gets results. Then you also have to make callbacks to like the very start to see the early Pokemon games. For me, when thinking of an old school Pokemon gem, I like to submit Pokemon Crystal. There's so many, but for me that's the one that I always remember. Alongside some others with maybe a little bit more notoriety, like the Little Big Planet series. That game was really just full of creative concepts mechanic-wise, and it was just so fun to play. See, I think for a game to be this gem, the most fundamental thing is passion. And I don't just mean passion for game creation, I mean passion for the actual game. When it's not just a one-man band and a massive collective of passionate people, then you get the gems, even though sometimes not everybody's gonna get the recognition. Like, I feel a fitting example of that is Hidetaka Miyazaki, the maker of Dark Souls. And when you hear about it, you hear Miyazaki's made another masterpiece, or Miyazaki makes the best game, and it feels like it's the one-man band. But if you've ever looked up interviews, you'll find out that he credits his devs that creativity made the amazing games we got to play. I remember reading that he simply guides his co-workers as he doesn't want to trap their creativity, just lean them into the direction almost. Another example of a gem, and this time I'm going to put it on an actual person, is the late Colin McRae from Rally. Known for a true passion of rally and racing, showcased with his style of driving that was so unique to him, although he did have a phrase for it as well. When in doubt, flat out. It was a reckless style, but one that heavily leaned into his skill. And a prime example of him using that quote was when in an early rally race, I believe Finland 1992, in his Subaru Legacy RS. In the race, he flipped the car 7 times. But even after all the rolls, he actually stuck the landing, and with it landing on its wheels, he started it back up and took off like a jet again. Now, that is something someone with an undeniable passion for what he's doing will do, and due to that passion, he influenced so many people into becoming rally fans, showcasing the art of driving, how not everyone drives the same. Colin McRae, may he rest in peace, showed no artist paints the same, and gave mass influence as mentioned in the process. See, I feel with creative people mostly that something that you truly feel that passion for gets your creative juices flowing, something chronic. And I feel with Dark Souls, it's very obvious that it worked, because as a series, it's well loved for its medieval fantasy designs and how effortlessly it blends. And I think that's only something that happens when all people are equally passionate. In this case, Hidetaka just takes lead role, and sometimes that's just easier for things. Still, all the gems have that in common, from my perspective. Like, when you hop on the game, you just get that feeling and know, oh, I'm in for a gem right now. Built from true passion, it really goes with anything I'd say though. You'll always be passionate about something, I believe it's human nature, although that's more of a belief than personal knowledge, and it lends itself to you, to your uniqueness, like the ragtag looking Espada, or the odd jobs of the Bebop. They're all loved characters, and as a group, just as much, because of their uniqueness. And there's so many other things that can be spoken about on more deeper matters that connect, and how many there are combined, but I think I'd rather not speak on them all at once. Why just quickly go over all of them instead of just slowly going through it? To be honest, I'm just fortunate that I'm passionate about doing these. All the comments have been amazing, but back to the main topic, I also think a passion really gives yourself something interesting for possible reactions and interactions. Like if you have a nice car and are passionate about them, maybe one day you'll be working away on your car and somebody speaks to you about cars. Something only created due to your passion. A moment created because you went at and followed your passion in whatever form was possible for you. Passion is part of the soul of a person. That's why you gotta allow it to be apparent. But then again, that's just how I see things from my perspective. And it'll 100% be different for 2 years, or really anyone else's, in the best way it could. So let me know, cause I'm all yapped out. I'll speak to you later, and stay safe.